Well, congratulations. You survived Denver's wettest day in more than 2 years. Rain was falling for 15 hours. So honestly, I don't want to downplay this. We're supposed to make a big deal out of this, right? Because it's the weather, but it was just kind of damp today, right? It was just damp.
I mean, you didn't get soaked when you walked outside, but it's a big deal. Higher up, that moisture came in the form of snow, and that's always, woo, we make big, just a little dusting on the top of the 14ers. But you can take a look at the snow state cam at Winter Park. They're counting every single little inch they can get. So thanks for joining us. I'm Kim Christensen.
And I'm Kyle Clark. So 9 News reporter Rachel Krause is up in Georgetown. Rachel, they got pretty well soaked up there too, but the rain-snow line is going to be farther up the hill behind you.
Yeah, absolutely. Right now it's been raining pretty steadily in Georgetown. We got a nice fine mist going on right now, just enough to make things a little bit more wet on the roads for folks who are trying to move through. Throughout the day, clouds have covered much of Guanella Pass near Georgetown as rain coats the trees and temperatures drop. A very different view from the bright fall day in the exact same spot just 24 hours earlier, when the fall leaves on the changing aspens shone nice and bright. Today's rainy forecast wasn't enough to keep Marina Duran away from the mountains. The Denver native decided to come check out the fall colors with her friends. She expected the rain, but not the snow in the forecast, and she said they're going to head back down to town tonight to avoid the first snow of the season on the interstate.
Yeah, I didn't know it was going to snow, but I mean, that's normal, I guess, to be expected. I'm not driving, so I wasn't that concerned about it.
20 miles and 3,000 feet of elevation up the road. Berthoud Pass got its first snow of the season, and that's getting a warm greeting from folks ready for the freeze, eager to see the return of snow on the ground, and with it, skiing season. But here in Georgetown, none of that snow has shown up, at least not yet. Right now, the temperatures just don't seem to be cold enough to be able to turn this rain into anything a little bit more picturesque. That's good news for a lot of the leaf peepers who are still hoping to hit the mountains and check out those fall colors. Reporting live in Georgetown, Rachel Krause, 9 News.
Chris Bianchi, we don't want to rain on your rain parade. It was a lot of rain. We love the rain. It's wonderful. It was just so beautifully spread out throughout the day. It never really seemed like a big event, you know?
You know, Kyle, I think that's the big key takeaway here. Is it enough rain to make a difference? Not enough rain to lead to flooding. It's a good news kind of rain, honestly. No headaches. We didn't have to deal with any sort of severe weather threat. We're not even close to dealing with flooding. So, you know, from my perspective, admittedly, I am a nerd in a suit, so bear with me here. But this is a good news kind of rain. Again, no major headaches, but a lot of water and enough that this is a drought busting kind of rain. I'm going to show you those totals in just a second. Right now, upper 40s, low 50s, cool, damp. We really only get less than 5 days like this per year in Denver and across the Front Range. But look at the amount of rain that we picked up. 9 News Studios, I just updated this, about 1.5 inches for us in 9 News. We get an 1.5 inch rain event in a single day about once every other year in Denver. This is pretty uncommon stuff for us. Fort Collins, about 1.3 inches. Again, drought-busting kind of rainfall. In fact, for us here in Denver, 1.28 inches of rain out at the Central Park Station. Wettest day in 824 days, going back to June the 22nd of 2023. That was the day of the Highlands Ranch tornadoes, the last time we had this much rain in Denver. I'll have more details on when that rain comes to a close in just a couple minutes.
Tonight, the Jefferson County Sheriff's Office says they have made an arrest in a months-long investigation into human trafficking across the metro Denver area.
Spring and 9 News reporter Colton Chavez on this now, and you have details on this investigation that centers around the National Western Stock Show.
Yeah, Kyle, the stock show, as we all know, one of the biggest events of the year in Denver, and advocates say it's typical for law enforcement to focus on events like this to catch traffickers in the act.
In Colorado, I mean, human trafficking is everywhere.
It's a statewide issue, according to Janelle Goodrich. She's the executive director of From Silenced to Saved, an organization that offers services to survivors of human trafficking.
Denver happens to very much be on the circuit for traveling girls who are being brought from major city to major city by their pimps and traffickers.
An undercover investigation led Jefferson County Sheriff's Office to the National Western Stock Show. Deputies say they were investigating responses to commercial sex advertisements during the 16-day event. Is it something specifically about that event, or why would they kind of put a focus on an event like that?
Large events do mean that you can do larger scale operations, but it doesn't necessarily mean more trafficking is going on. It just means that we're paying closer attention to it.
9 months after the stock show, an arrest. Investigators say 32-year-old Cortez D'Angelo Dennis was trafficking women from locations across Denver. Goodrich says it's not uncommon for law enforcement to take months to build a case.
The more evidence they have, especially even digital evidence, means that there is less on the victim survivor's shoulders when it comes to maybe testimony or it having to go to trial.
The sheriff's office says at the stock show, they recovered 2 survivors and connected them with support, and they believe more may be out there.
I would hope that they would know that they can come forward and that Colorado is really at the forefront for serving them when they do come forward.
Dennis is currently being held on a $500,000 cash-only bond. If you know anything, or maybe a survivor yourself, you're asked to call the Jeffco Sheriff's Office. Colton Chavez, 9 News.
As people gather to celebrate the Jewish New Year in Colorado this week, police and security guards are standing watch outside houses of worship. That security presence is meant to both keep people safe and help people feel safe after the anti-Semitic firebombing in Boulder that killed a woman and injured 13 others. Temple Emmanuel in Denver expects thousands of people to attend services during the Jewish holidays of Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur over the next week and a half. Leaders there are making sure that people see the security.
Visible security actually is an enormous comfort. That hasn't always been the case, but we know that our community feels nervous. We know that our community is aware of how different this year might feel.
The state of Colorado awards security grants to places of worship and nonprofits deemed at high risk of violence. And this year, nearly 90% of the $250,000 that was granted went to Jewish organizations.
After 30 years, a beloved diner near the DU campus is closing up shop. Pete's University Park Cafe has been open since 1995. Now the restaurant at Evans University is going to shut down, they say, over Denver's minimum wage and rising costs. Pete's University Park Cafe's last day will be Sunday, November 9th. Skier parking at Vail just got more expensive for the upcoming winter season. Vail's Town Council just approved a change. Visitors will now pay a $10 per hour charge for a maximum of 5 hours on peak days, Friday through Sunday. That's up from a max of 4 hours last season. That means skiers and riders will have to pay up to $50 a day to park. On non-peak days, visitors will have to pay $10 per hour for the first 3 hours, up to $30 a day. The town of Vail hopes these changes will raise an additional $400,000 for maintenance on the town's aging parking structures. Parking tickets in general, always a hassle. Now it is even harder to dispute them with the city of Denver.
Let's talk with 9 News reporter Shalima Maharaj about that. And Shalima, the city just closed down the online portal where people could log on and dispute a ticket.
That is right. And so basically, if you get a parking ticket, you have 2 options. One is to pay it, or you can dispute it in person. And for those who have experienced it, it is not sitting well with them.
I've gotten parking tickets and it's annoying, but I'll pay them.
Not all tickets are justified.
Where I live is 2-hour parking outside on the street in my house, but it's permitted.
Christina Noto has a permit. She still got ticketed twice because someone misread the O and 0 on her license plate.
It showed as me not having a parking permit, even though I did. And so I had to dispute it online with the city, and it was rectified pretty quickly.
The problem is that online portal closed last week. And now you can only contest your ticket in person.
It's so inefficient.
The city's Department of Transportation and Infrastructure says Denver County Court will no longer staff the online dispute process for parking citations because there's no one left to do it. Dottie blames Denver's budget cuts after the city laid off more than 30 employees in the department.
For residents and Denverites to have to pay for that in a different way or pay for it in other ways is really unfortunate.
Unfortunate and inconvenient, she says.
Yes, it is a privilege to have a car, but some people with cars have 9-to-5 jobs or have children or are elderly.
It's a dilemma Christina hopes she won't have to face again.
And the fact that I'm going to have to go in person when I'm in the middle of grad school, take time out of my day, and have to explain that this is now potentially going to happen a third time just makes me so mad.
Now, another thing that you might find frustrating is if the court finds that your ticket is valid, you'll have to pay an additional $26 in court costs, and that is on top of the cost of that ticket. Live in Denver, Shaliba Baharaj, 9 News.
Tonight, ABC is bringing back Jimmy Kimmel's Late Night Show following a nearly week-long suspension. But not everyone will be able to watch it live if they want, because the show will not be airing on local stations run by the 2 largest owners of local stations in the country, Sinclair and Nexstar. Those station groups are aligning themselves with President Trump's call for Jimmy Kimmel to be taken off the air. We should note, Nexstar is seeking government approval right now to purchase 9 News and its parent company, Tegna. ABC suspended Kimmel indefinitely last Wednesday. Network cited comments that he made after Charlie Kirk was murdered, saying that people in the MAGA movement were trying to capitalize on Kirk's killing. The announcement that ABC was pulling the show came hours after FCC Chairman Brendan Carr criticized Kimmel's comments and threatened regulatory action. Afterward, Nexstar and Sinclair said they would pull the show. President Trump posted about this on social media within the last half hour, saying that ABC had told him that Kimmel's show would be canceled and hinting that he'll sue ABC again, writing, quote, "I think we're going to test ABC out on this. Let's see how we do. Last time I went after them, they gave me $16 million. This one sounds even more lucrative." Nexstar, which owns Fox 31 in Denver, is currently seeking the government's approval to acquire Tegna, which owns 9 News. Nexstar's CEO has said that multiple stations in the same city will be combined.